Here we go. All right. So we're now recording, and we'll start it off with the first person on the agenda is Jason Camus.
Thanks, Fern, and thanks for letting me be here. And hello, everybody. I think I know a lot of the faces and names. I don't maybe know everybody, but so really, Farron had asked if Jenna Lee and I wanted to come on or had the ability to come on and just share a little with you guys. And honestly, kind of like Farron, I'd like to hear more. I'll share a few things, but then I'd like to hear more from you, what you see or what you hear from the presidents and that in your area. About what I could do, what the district can do from a public image standpoint, and to kind of go back into last year, there was some plans, or two years ago, or the last couple of years, there had been a campaign, and there were plans to kind of roll that out back early in the spring, and then when everything happened, obviously we put that on hold and so forth. So it's been somewhat of a holding pattern. The beauty for public image is we have money budgeted to do some different things over the next couple of years, and it's been a commitment from the district governor Chain and the district leadership to spend some money in the public image realm. That said, my concern has always, and I've visited with a couple Rotarians who maybe work in this realm and one of my concerns has always been, we don't want to do things level shut down and everybody kind of look at it and say, it's not what we need or whatever. So it really works better if the clubs at least give some guidance, and sometimes they're not going to necessarily know what they need, and that's okay. But for me to say, hey, we're going to create a district-wide video and kind of this in a box type thing that they can use to promote their clubs, promote their projects and so forth, and not have any clubs use them, that seems like wasted energy and wasted money. And so we can obviously promote Rotary at a district level, though $15,000 or $16,000 a year, whatever we have in the budget, can go quickly. So it's just a matter of putting the resources in the right spot. I thought I'd start with the couple real things that I could use from you and from the club chairs. Is we're up now to, so we have, I just ran the report here. I was going to look. I think we have 13 public image club chairs. Now my guess says there are more than that, and they just aren't designated in Club Runner. But and I can't even say they're primarily, because 13 is not even a third of the clubs. And so getting those designations in there would be a huge help, because I would like to be able to start communicating with them, kind of like the weekly email I've been sending. For those that don't know me, I'm the one who's been sending the weekly emails as it relates to the district-wide the district-wide meetings. I would like to be able to start sending something like that, maybe on a monthly basis, to the public image chairs for each of the clubs. And real short, just, here's some resources that, maybe I've come across from Rotary International, that type of thing, or just, tips and tricks of things that they can be doing that I've maybe seen from another club that's worked well. So that would be the first thing I could really use help with. And if it helps, I could send this list to, you all have access to it, I assume, to run these reports, but I could send lists to Farron or Mandy and have her send it to the 10 of you guys. And that way you'll know which clubs are all missing. But primarily it's most of them. So that would be a start. The second kind of things I just wanted to mention is, as we think about trainings, and, I've kind of thought, hey, we really should start doing some more trainings. And part of that was, team, we obviously postponed, and I'm at the point where I need to kind of get back into that, because we have talked about still doing a team training this fall, obviously doing it virtual. And that, for those, I think all of you should know, or at least are familiar with it, even if you haven't been. The team training's the one we've been doing in Lawrence the last few years in August. And, one, just kind of getting some direction as to what topics that you hear from the clubs that they need help with, or that you see them needing help with, and maybe they don't want to admit to or don't know. And probably a good example is Club Runner. And this is one, I mean, anybody, sure, I could sit down or I could bring somebody in, doesn't matter. and show somebody how to use Facebook in a better form and fashion to meet club goals and that. But most knows that they need to have some kind of a presence on Facebook or social media. But I'll use the example of Club Runner in the sense that I sat through half of the Club Runner experience that Club Runner itself put on at the end of August, and I was blown away at the stuff that Club Runner can do. And this was their first, I think they called it their first virtual experience, but makes me think, I don't know how many of our clubs actually have really a good grasp on what they can do with Club Runner, whether it's just using it for your website or some of the more advanced features for email and some of that stuff. So that's kind of the example I'm thinking is, what are those topics that they need? The second, kind of maybe a big level, and I did this, and Chuck is very familiar with this because I did it with his club, and I've done it with a few other clubs when I was the district membership chair. I did membership, like kind of the club health check, the Rotary Club health check. And one of the things that they don't really have one that I found for Rotary, but I have been thinking about, it would be relatively easy to kind of design a pretty simple version of like a public image audit that I could potentially do with clubs, whether I did it online, virtually. Some clubs meet in person. I actually was in Osawatomie, so whoever has Osawatomie, I was there at the end of June. They had for United Way, which I'm involved with, but they're meeting in person. And since I was there, I said, "Hey, you guys want to talk Rotary at all?" And they did, so which was great. So I had an opportunity to talk Rotary with them. But I think for a lot of clubs, understanding what they're doing. I know Overbrook is a good example. That was one of their one major goal, or one of their two major goals this year, was to improve their presence, their public image. And so I've been talking with Jerry there and that about how they can do that through their website and other things. And she's in the process of getting things together so they can get better there. So that's the second. And so maybe just ask the AGs if they are not presidents in that, if that would be of interest and they would want to do, and it could be done with the entire club. I think on the public image side, probably doesn't have to be. It's a little different than doing the Rotary Club health check. And honestly, we can do public image out of that Rotary Club health check if you've never done that. And I'm sure Chuck can, at some point, you could always ask Chuck and he can share what you get out of that and the purpose and maybe the end results. The last thing really I just wanted to mention is we have Jim Arnett and DG Jason, or past DG Jason, and I have been talking about Pints for Polio. My hope is to get something out here in the next week. We had looked at some options. We know a lot of clubs are doing do something for Pints with Polio, maybe with the local brewery. We certainly don't want to take that away, but we are looking at like a district type option, if you want to call it that, where we'd bring the district together, almost similar to a district-wide Rotary meeting, except for we'd probably do happy hour, because I'm not sure. Well, maybe you guys are all Rotarians, so maybe you'd enjoy a beer at 12 o'clock, and we could have happy hour at lunch. But most likely we'll do it as a happy hour type thing. So, and that would be, and we'll do like a $25. You'll get a ticket and a glass and some other things. So we're working on the details of that right now. So that's really all I have today, and I didn't want to take up too much time. And then I guess my only question for all of you is, are there things that you see right off the top of your head, you're like, hey, our clubs really need help with this, or maybe a specific club that you'd like me to reach out to because they need help more than others?
I have one for you that we met with just today. And Chuck probably knows about this too. But I had a really nice conversation with their president, Jessica Johnson, yesterday afternoon and I did the reason I wasn't on the CAT meeting today was because I was doing my club visit with Ottawa at the same time.
I talked to Jessica a few times.
So one of the things you might want to mention to her, Jason, or her PR chair, whoever that might be, is their website is way outdated. The most recent information they have on there is from 2018 and 19, introducing their new board. So obviously those people are already been there, done that. And then Another one you could reach out to is Valley Falls.
Okay.
And that would be Phil Huffman. And I don't think he didn't even know they had a website, but they do. And Deb Rodenbaugh was the DG at the time. So that kind of tells you how long ago that's been. So those are some areas where you might want to, when you see that, it's like, okay,
Yep.
Might need to pay a little attention here.
Definitely.
Did you have something, Chuck?
Yeah, I did. First of all, I do want to thank you, Jason, for working with Jerry on, that Facebook. And I don't think you mentioned it, but the reason that she zeroed in on that was they did the Rotary Health Check last year, and that was one of the 2 items that they mentioned. The other thought I just want to pass on, and it's food for thought, and that is for small clubs like Overbrook, Baldwin City, Valley Falls, what would be some easy to do public image things that they can do? Because so much that I see, at the zone meetings and all that kind of stuff is kind of targeted for larger clubs. At least I feel it is. So anyway,
Okay.
Whatever you can do would be great, Jason.
Chuck, one quick question on that, and maybe this is for everybody too. And sometimes I think we talk about small, medium, and large size clubs, but I almost wonder, is it less about the club size and more about the community size? Because I would think that a club, even Ottawa, which has 35 or 40 members, Ottawa, the way you're gonna promote yourself in Ottawa is going to be similar to Overbrook, whereas that might be completely different than Manhattan and Topeka, which Topeka might have a club that only has 40 people too. Are you thinking, does that make a difference at all?
Now, I'll tell you what, it's a good question to ask. I think what makes a difference is ditto regarding the community. That's important. But the other thing is the expertise, with social media and other things. I mean, say a larger club may have a public image professional as a member, which, for example, Leawood does. But, Overbrook, Baldwin City, Ottawa don't, for example. So I think that's where perhaps it's almost like doing a skill set inventory in your image thing that, Health Check may try to uncover some of that too. So thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Chuck.
You're welcome.
So let's move on to our next section. Thank you very much, Jason. That was
You're welcome.
Good information. So our next item on the agenda is membership. Jenny Randall.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. So my position is a little bit like Jason's. The club size and community sizes of our clubs are in vary so much that my point of reference is Topeka South Rotary. That's my home club. And it's 130 people. What I did to promote my club to encourage membership is going to be vastly different from, say, Topeka North that has 8 people in it. So I want the district membership chair and committee to be reflective of what your clubs need. That being said, we also have kind of an issue. In 2016, our district had just over 2,400 people in it. The beginning of this Rotary year, we are down to just over 2,100 people. So we're losing members, and based on all of the great work that we do, we shouldn't be losing members. So it is a district issue, and I just want to know what I can do to support your clubs. So I have a ton of resources, so the Rotary Health Check, as Jason mentioned, there's a gazillion reports. There's so many reports. It's unreal. But, there's also a lot of assessment tools that I can get to you to get to your clubs. There's tools for retention. When I think about what our clubs are going through right now, many of them stopped all meetings. Some have restarted. Some are meeting in person. Some have been meeting in Zoom. Some are trying to do hybrid. And if you look at some of the reports, which I'm going to send you, you can see what when we're losing members, are we losing new members? So those who are been with Rotary for less than a year, are we losing them at their 2 to 3 year, 2 to 5 year mark? And we also have some reasons, although they're very general reasons why we're losing members. But right now, this is a really good opportunity for your presidents, those incoming presidents, to use some of these assessment tools. Perhaps they want to look at refiguring what their club is. We can now realign some of our clubs. We can do cause-based clubs. We can do satellite clubs. We have a lot of options. Some clubs meet in person, but they focus on a very particular area. For instance, like the North Topeka Club. They work a lot with that school district up in North Topeka, and that's their focus. And they do a ton of great work for only having 8 members. So, we can also look at alternate membership types. So, a past president said once to the incoming president, you have a new club here. If this is brand new, what we're entering into because of COVID, you can completely restructure if that's what your club needs. So this is an opportunity for your presidents, your incoming presidents, to really assess what is going right with their clubs, what should they be adjusting, really take that temperature of their members so we don't lose anybody as this COVID continues on. And as, are we going to continue to meet in Zoom? There's some members in my club that I have not seen since March because Zoom just is not their thing. They do not like it at all. Well, how do we keep those people connected? So Chuck had me speak to his clubs a few weeks ago, and that's when it became very, very real to me. There's so many different issues and approaches that we need to take. So some of them were struggling with, well, they want to continue to meet on Zoom, but they're not attending Zoom. They're not attending the Zoom meetings. Well, what do they really want to do that? So I think it's really important for us to stay connected with our members. And if you can just relay that to your presidents, that even if they're not attending Zoom, that doesn't mean they're not still connected to Rotary, but it could mean that we're losing them. So another resource that we have available through RI is a long-term strategic plan for membership. I'm going to send that to you also. It's big and it's a lot to take in, but I do want to get it into your hands so you can, if your presidents are talking about what do we do, how do we adjust to this, how do I retain my members, how do I attract new members? Well, that strategic plan will help guide them through all of that. So I'm also going to send you the club flexibility options. There's a lot of opportunity there to make Rotary what each club and each community needs. And so that will just help you in conversations with your presidents. And then finally, I'm going to end where I started. What are your club's concerns around membership? What are they talking about? What are your concerns around membership?
That's just me speaking up here. This is Todd Ackerman. Our local membership in our club is pretty steady, and we're trying to bring more on, every once in a while. Our problem is right now of finding a place to meet. We've moved a couple of times now because of the COVID, because we are meeting in place. And but there's one south of me about 10 miles that's in my area, and our biggest thing is I got to get them re-engaged. We're trying to do a membership drive for them, but I can report for that here when we do our reports here next. But re-engagement of an aging club, and that's the one thing I think that we're trying to do now is if we can, because we know all kinds of younger business professionals down there. And if all it is changing the meeting times, places, whatever, we're going to try to help them do that. So, but that's the only thing I can think of, try to bring the younger generation in, is to kind of cater toward them.
Yeah, it's, a lot of the clubs in my group are facing similar problems. The older folks, the ones that are most at risk from in-person meetings, are the same people that are least comfortable with Zoom. And so, yeah, that's been an issue. How we can make Zoom a little more easier, I don't know, but that might be an individual tutorial thing. But that's been an issue with my clubs. One of the things with Ambassadors, my personal club, is that to enhance membership, we've done things like we had a happy hour meeting, and basically the club provided kind of gift packages, of an alcoholic content, and we were able to go and kind of participate together in that, and that actually brought more people into the meetings, into the Zoom meetings.
Anyone else before we start our going around?
So, I think that retention is the name of the game. I know that is the RI president's goal this year too, is to retain those members. So I think, Janalea, the fact that we can't retain members, it doesn't help if we get 10 or 12 new members a year and 10 or 12 leave every year. So I would look to get just some information on retaining members in all of the clubs in Area 10. Thanks.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Jenna Lee. Appreciate you being on the call this afternoon. And if you guys want to hang out for a little bit, you can. If you need to go, that's fine too. But now we're going to switch to the next part of our meeting, which will probably take us up till the end of it, or maybe close to it. Let's just go around the room. Let's talk about our clubs and see where we're at on things. Harvey, haven't heard from you for a little bit. Let's have you report.
Okay. I was just looking at my notes. Burlington is meeting at the First Baptist Church with no food. They were meeting in the hospital. Of course, they can't do that. So they're actively meeting face-to-face and apparently doing okay. Garnett is now meeting face-to-face at the Dutch Country Cafe, which is all reports I get about the Dutch Country Cafe. It's run by a group of Mennonite people who always cook well. So it's a good place to go to eat from what I'm hearing. And they are doing well too. Emporia Club is meeting on Zoom, and they have decided, and we usually meet at the country club here, but it's closed. And our club board has decided not to meet in person until maybe January, to reassess as we go along and meet in January. That's just the way they are. My concern is going to physically visit another club at this time. I know they're meeting in person, but should I be going, I haven't done it since COVID, but should I be going and visiting face-to-face with these folks?
And here's, I'll give you the RI version, then I'll give you mine. RI discourages meeting in person. They do not prohibit it. So there's not a ban on it. However, I have put it on the clubs themselves. And now if your comfort level, if you're not comfortable doing it personally, then you shouldn't. But if you are, which of course I am, but if you are comfortable with meeting in person, then you have to reflect the comfortability of that club. So if that club is not comfortable with you coming in and speaking with you in person, then that's fine. You can find other ways to communicate with them. But that's kind of where we leave it. And I actually put that in the district newsletter as well for my club visits, is I'm not pushing that on any club to have a district governor visit unless they want one. And if they do, I'll do it virtually or I'll do it in person, depending on what they want. And so I would expect the AGs to kind of reflect that as well based upon their own comfortability.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, Harvey?
Nope, that's it.
All right, very good. Hey, real quick, Tamara, Jenny, are you still on and listening?
Yes, I'm back. I'm so sorry. My internet connection is unstable, so it even dropped me off the call. So I missed everything that you said.
You mean the last comment that Tamara said?
Yes, Tamara, I missed what you said.
Okay.
No problem. No problem. You know, I've always been very concerned about retention, specifically in my personal club, because we're really great at getting new members and people are excited to join Rotary, but then we lose almost as many as we gain each year. So anything you can provide to kind of help us with that retention factor would be greatly appreciated, because it's tough when you get the new membership and then by the end of the year you've lost as many as you gained. I think last year was the first year that we were up instead of even. So that would be very helpful for us in area 10, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Tamara, since you were already talking, want to go ahead and give your report?
Sure, you bet. Leavenworth is still meeting via Zoom. We're meeting every other week, and things are going well with Zoom. We're getting about the same amount of people attending the Zoom meetings that we usually have at our in-person meeting. Oskaloosa is still trying to figure out their way as to how they're going to start meeting again, so they have not started meeting yet. Atchison had their first in-person meeting last week, and they have relocated their meetings so they can really practice social distancing. Next week, Senator Jerry Moran is going to be their guest speaker, and of course they meet on Thursdays. And Valley Falls continue to meet each week, and I have not heard back from Phil at this point in time. I did send him a quick email just to see if there was anything else going on, but I did not hear back from him. And Jason, anything I can help as far as public image with Valley Falls, I'm more than happy to do that. So thank you.
All right. Very good. Let's move on to the next report. And looking at my screen, that would be Charles Voland. You're on mute there. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. All right. Real quickly, Manhattan's meeting 35 to 60, they say, via Zoom. They are going to continue to be on Zoom for the duration for now. But they've been doing some projects. They've gotten some projects completed. And one of the things they've been really working on, I guess, is that they have 7 new Paul Harris Fellows, and then they recognize 9 multiple Paul Harris Fellows. So
nice.
They're doing, moving right along. The Kanza Club has 35 to 50, they say, that meet either in person or by Zoom. They are doing great guns. They have 3 new members. They've completed 3 service projects. They're planning 4 more for between now and December. They've also awarded 4 Paul Harris Awards.
Wow.
Council Grove is meeting at the Hayes House with social distancing. they're working on a community project. Their big one that they're working on right now is that they have gotten hold of an original covered wagon, which they're going to restore and put on display in the city park, because 2021 is the 200th anniversary of the Santa Fe Trail. So they've got a big project on their hands, and they're also working with the city on a Neosho River Walk project. So
Wow.
here in Junction City, we continue to meet at the Marriott. We usually have 15 to 20 in person and a few join on Zoom. We have this coming weekend on Saturday, if the weather, everything holds, we're going to do this playground map project, which has been hanging fire since last spring because of COVID, out at Sites Elementary on Fort Riley. And this is something Linda Couch saw as a project from Wichita area, and she liked it. So we're hoping to get that project done Saturday. As you know, Farron, you inducted one of our new members with a Paul Harris, and since then we have found out that one of our other members has now qualified for her Paul Harris. So
Yeah.
we will be recognizing her next week. Susan, our president, did a lot of work on a membership survey that she's gotten information from the club members about, and that she's helping to change or to shape up our plans. We've joined a district grant on the teen suicide project. We are going to be awarding $500 to United Way, and we're going to do that on the match day so that we get more bang for the buck. So United Way is one of the big projects that a lot of our members really support. And Susan is still continuing to work on getting a satellite club, see if that's going to happen. So that's pretty much quick report.
All right, very good. I was going to ask you about that satellite club, so I'm glad you said something.
Yeah, she's supposed to meet with the group again on Monday, I believe. So.
Okay, very good. And Todd, you're the next on my screen.
Well, if you think that was a quick report, I'm gonna have a really quick report. We are meeting in person here in Marysville. We've excused some that do not want to meet, but for the most part, we're meeting in person with food here at the Landau Lanes, they call it, and then we actually have it catered in, and it comes in individually made. For you, Farron, you still plan on coming October 19th?
I am.
Okay, we'll be in person again with meals then as well. And then we're going to sit down and talk with the current president here and the president-elect about that new club I was talking to you about over in Seneca. And you said you wanted to talk about it later, so I figure if we can sit down, because the president we currently have just opened he has a law office over there as well. And but he doesn't want to be the president right away since he's president over here right now, understandably. So he's trying to find somebody. He just hired another attorney he's putting over there. So they're going to try to find somebody, and we can talk about the details on that when you come up on the 19th.
Be happy to. I'll make sure I have plenty of time.
And you emailed me the other day about Valley Heights. I got all those messages to them about there's no information in Club Rotor at all for them and the dues and stuff. And the current president, the veterinarian down there, he told me that he'd get it taken care of and he'd get back with me, and that he emailed me back yesterday. So I'll give it a couple days and I'll get back with Don Musil, that's who he is, and see where they're at on it.
Very good.
The public image thing, I was looking at, we have a handbook that we make every year for our club. Ours is under public relations. I wonder if that isn't going to be the same thing. If we ought not to go back into the Club Runner and put the right title with that person in there, because we try to do projects every now and then, and that's what the new incoming president-elect has already talked about. She wants a project for the community this year, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they'll follow through with it. We'll see. Now, I'm not going down to Valley Heights in person. I'm talking to them only by email and by phone. Most of them are elderly down there, from what I understand, and I'm not going to put that pressure on them down there. So, let's see. I think that's all I really got for up here for right now.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. And I am looking forward to talking about that new club in Seneca. And you said something about a satellite club too with Marysville. You talked about that in other times.
Yeah, we're waiting on the gentleman to come back with it. He left our club because he, excuse me, he doesn't work here anymore, but he still lives here. Todd Fry's his name. I know some of you guys know him.
Yeah.
And he's trying to wait till fall. He said it should slow down in his business, and he's going to come back, and he wants to do it before the end of the year.
Okay.
The one other thing is, you sent me an email that somebody didn't have my email address, and I went into my profile and everything's in there. So I'm not sure why they didn't have it.
I'm not either. I think it might have been on their end.
Okay.
I can't remember who that was, but yeah, I was checking your email as well, and everything looked good because you're responding to all the emails that I send you, so it shouldn't be a problem there.
I just making sure I didn't miss something.
Yeah, well, I was trying to make sure too, but I think we're good.
All right, thanks.
You bet. Okay, next up, David Beck. You're right underneath Todd on my screen.
Okay. Well, I think our clubs in Lawrence are all doing pretty well. The Jayhawk Breakfast Club is the only one that's doing hybrid meetings. They are meeting in person, and they are enthused about the hybrid thing. And Stan Rasmussen was telling me that he thought even after everything was over, they were going to continue hybrid meetings because it allowed so many more people to come who couldn't otherwise, even if you were just out of town, regardless of the COVID thing. So they seem to be thriving, and they've had 3 new members since the beginning of the year. The Kristen's Club, the big Lawrence club, is only doing hybrid meetings right now. They are too big. Lawrence has a 45-person limit, or they would start doing hybrid, but they got too many people, so they can't do that yet. They're doing well too. They've done some really nice service projects and got some enthusiasm going, and got their young people's club spearheading the service projects. They've also, they've got 2 new members in, and they're swearing in a 3rd one next week. The 3rd club, Jayhawk Central, is struggling a little bit, but they are doing Zoom meetings. They're trying to set up an after-hours Zoom, and at this time don't have any plans to meet in person. They're a small club, and most of their members are old like me, so they're not willing to go back to in-person meetings yet.
All right. Thank you, David. Let's move on to Rick Randolph.
Hi, everybody. For the clubs in our area, the Ambassador Club under Jackie Leib is meeting by Zoom, and got 2 projects going on. One is the Stopping Teen Suicide program, which is being developed and fundraised for. The other one is we have a house cleanup for the whole person coming up on the 3rd of October. That's a system for helping people with disabilities live independently. So things are going pretty well there. Bonner Spring Club with Bruce Coleman, they're meeting indoors with Zoom. And they have an event coming up this Saturday, the Tiblo Trot fundraiser there. DeSoto is also meeting in person with Zoom backup. And they had a successful pop-up paddle, which was funding the Johnson County Parks and Rec and Friends of the Cause. So that's they had a blast. Village West, they are meeting primarily by Zoom, and I've got in person too. And I'll be speaking over there on the, actually next month, 29th. And KCK is meeting by Zoom, and I really didn't get much from them this time. Regarding the environment, our district is part of a trial program on Freon collection. Leonard Compton is running that. We have the first collection that is scheduled for later this month. We have been working on getting a satellite club for the cause club, really for the environment. Right now we're working on the bylaws. One of the issues we ran into is a question as to how much you can actually say about climate change within Rotary International. So, if you if you start from the point that climate change is a humanitarian crisis that's only increasing, then really that's where we need to be as Rotarians, particularly bringing the service above self ethics and actions on that. However, Rotary and Article 14 says that, and it says that any public question involving the welfare of the community is a proper subject for discussion. However, they do not want you to address controversial public measures. And so one of the main keys of the club and the keys for growth is an ability to at least discuss climate change, particularly for younger folks. So we're kind of wrestling around with that right now. And the one last thing is that Cadre of Technical Advisors, for those of you who aren't familiar with them, is out of the Rotary Foundation, essentially groups of people that have technical expertise in one or more of the areas of focus. That is now going to a regional organization so that they can place people from the cadres into the districts to help with developing the global grants. Previously, all they've been involved with really was evaluating them, and when they looked at the statistics, only about a third of the people ever got to perform even one evaluation. So we want to get people more involved in actually formulating them and to get the people placed into the districts on the foundation committees. So you will be, Baron, you'll be receiving some communications. This is jumping the gun a little maybe, but you'll be receiving some communications regarding cadre activities and what will be requested inside the district coming up.
Already have.
Okay. Cool. Well, I am the zone coordinator for 25B and 29, so I'll be able to help out with that. But the biggest thing is for us is to be able to, get a district cadre person for that as well.
All right. And something else, Rick, that I have put you, I probably should have talked to you about this, but I'm telling you now in front of your peers that in the district conference, which I was going to mention, which I've mentioned already in other meetings, but I have you in for about 15 minutes talking about the environmental club.
Cool.
And kind of what you, kind of the makeup of it and what your struggles are and so forth, just because I've got Jackie in there talking about RILA for 15 minutes, and I've also got Steve Wheatley in there talking about RYE, and I would like you in there talking about the environmental club, because we're going to give Patty quite a bit of time for human trafficking because that's been such a big issue, and plus we got the global grant for the Day Center, and we're working on other global grants centered around human trafficking too. So they got a little bit more time, but I wanted to give you at least 15 minutes to talk about this, about the environment.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. The last person on here is Chuck.
Well,
Chuck, I haven't heard from you for a few hours. So what say you?
What say me? Well, first of all, Rick, I'm glad to hear that, I know about the cadre regionalizing, and as a cadre member myself, I'm happy to hear that. And please let me know if I can help you out with anything with that. Be happy to. Okay, let's go around the horn then with the Area 7 clubs. Ottawa, Farron, you know a lot about that, being that you did a great presentation there today. But I'll share with the rest of the team that Ottawa is involved in various community service projects, such as their downtown landscaping, backpack stuffing, and so forth. They've also instituted something that I think is awesome, and that is Rotary Buddies, which I think some of y'all are aware of. And that's just simply Rotarians calling Rotarians and seeing how they are and seeing what's going on. And one of that actually, I think, Jana Lee, came out of your presentation with us, that the connection is so important. So I'm happy to see that that is progressing there. They also are doing their 100th anniversary next year, which they're well in preparation for. And one of the cool things I'm sure we'll hear more about is they will be doing something called 100 Acts of Kindness. And in today's age, I think that's really cool that they're doing it. Moving over to Overbrook. Oh, and by the way, Ottawa is meeting 100% on Zoom, but they're not missing a beat doing that. Ottawa is doing a combo of hybrid meetings and some Zoom-only meetings, depending on what's what. They have a community service project this Saturday, which is picking up limbs from various trees around town. And they have a family event out at their shelter, at the Rotary Shelter at a city park in Overbrook, which I'm hoping to be able to get out to. Baldwin City is meeting in person once a month, and they have a service project going on, and that is highway cleanup on Saturday, September 26th. So y'all aren't doing anything, come out to Baldwin City and we could meet. Well, I'll meet y'all on Highway 56 with the Baldwin City Club. Last thing I want to mention is I will be asking the 3 club presidents to be thinking of a joint project for all 3 clubs to do at be it service, be it social, that's their call, at our next quarterly presidents meeting, either in October or November. So Farron, that's about it from Area 7. Did you want me also to say anything about the Cat Club, since Leewood sponsoring it, or are you going to?
No, go ahead. Okay,
I think y'all know that the Cat Club, which stands for not cats, a 4-legged animal, but it stands for Community Action Against Human Trafficking. And the club came up with that name, and I think it's a wonderful name that they're having. It is a cause club. It is an e-club. And I think y'all know we need 20 members to charter. We are now at 16 that they have. So chartering is coming soon, I hope. Farron, be ready. I'm sure you'll be invited to the chartering parties.
Well, I better be invited.
Absolutely, since you got to do it. So you'll be there. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be virtual, since it is an e-club. And the e-club has members not only in northeastern Kansas, but a couple out in Denver, Colorado, too. So it is reaching beyond our district, which is really cool. Basically, a lot of the things are in place with officers, board. They're in the process of recruiting various committee chairs. The club constitution, of course, is there since it's standard, but the bylaws have been written. They will be approved, right around chartering. Bank accounts are set up. And so all the mechanics are in place. And I'll tell you, between the great job that Patty's doing and their president, Denise Lester, it's moving along very well. So we're delighted with that. So to see what's going on.
Yes, that's been a very bright spot to see that come along, because that's something that we've been wanting to see for a while, because the attention around human trafficking has been so big around our district that it's good to see we'll have a central club that can be our focal point and help other clubs know how they can be involved even more than what they thought they could be. So very good. I'm glad glad you reported on that, Chuck. And we're coming right up on the top of the hour. I think we already went through the new club projects, prospects while you were giving your individual reports and upcoming events. The next big one is going to be for the district, the district conference. And if you haven't been on a prior meeting where I've talked about this, the district conference will be an in-person hybrid meeting, and it is going to start. It's only going to be one day. We're condensing it down. Normally, it would be Friday afternoon and then all day Saturday, with some kind of event Friday night. And what we're doing is we're taking Friday completely out of it. We'll start it at 10. That way, anybody in the district can get there in plenty of time without having to spend the night before. But it will go from 10 o'clock all the way through the day. We've got several different presentations. I've got approval from, well, I just heard from our zone director, Susie Howell. She will be here and she's looking forward to it. She is from this area, so she's looking forward to coming back from Houston to here. And then we've got Todd Bowtie Jenkins speaking, and another person, which I don't know if any of you have seen her speak, but her name is Jenny Stotts. She is a director of CASA in Athens, Ohio, and she does a great presentation that I saw at International Assembly, and she's agreed to be here in person as well and do that as our keynote speech at the banquet that night. And of course, the most fun part about the whole thing will be the fact that we'll have, at the end of all of it, at the end of the banquet, we'll have karaoke. And so that way we'll get to see Todd sing his favorite song. No, I do have, if no one's comfortable getting up there, which that's not the case, because yours truly, I do sing on karaoke if it's in my register. So I'm brave enough to do that, but I do have a ringer coming in. His name is Lamont Jackson, and generally you may know who that is, but Lamont is a Kansas Highway Patrolman, but on the side, he's a kind of a Kelly Clarkson. He is really, really good, and he can carry the whole night if we need him to, but hopefully he won't have to, and you guys will chime in a little bit, or some of your members will. But anyway, we want to end it on a really high note and doing something like that. And by the way, don't worry about don't worry so much about the safety of doing karaoke, because I've already talked to our karaoke DJ. He knows how to do how to do this safely. He can sanitize the mics, and we can do some things to keep people safe if that's a concern.
Aaron, what's the date on that again?
November 7th.
All right.
Okay. That is, and by the way, Rick, you'll be interested in this too. Something we just discussed is that we will be, for the in-person part of it, we are going to be doing temperature checks coming in, and the Emerald Room there at the Capitol Plaza Hotel is big enough to where we could easily have 60, 70 people in there and still have round tables distanced out with only 4 people to a table, that kind of thing. We can make it, we can do some pretty spread out quite a bit. It's a very big room.
Okay. Yeah, I might, if you could get me I'll get with the details there, and maybe I can take a look and see what they're doing out there and make some recommendations too.
Okay. Sounds good. Jamie Stafford would be one to get a hold of too, because she's on the committee and she's running registration. So it would be good to get some of those details down so we know what we need to be, doing. Okay. And the good thing is we've got Jason Camus, who's not on the call now, but he's already heard this, so it's old hat for him, but him and Vernon Turner out of Manhattan will be helping us with the virtual part of it. We want to have this to be an event where kind of like the Oscars or the Grammys, where you see the camera pan out and you get to see who's in the crowd. We want that to happen for ours as well, because we don't want the people at home just seeing one person speaking. We would like to be able to, for them to be able to see other people that's out there in the audience and feel like they're a part of something bigger. And we're going to set up this is the cool part too. We're going to set up the screen to where the speaker can see the screen as they're talking to the audience. That way they realize that they're not just talking to maybe 40 or 50 people in front of them. They are talking to possibly 2 to 3 times that many. So that's I think that will add a good element to it as well. Anyway, that's the most recent event coming up, and anything else that we do is just stuff that we've already talked about, like the foundation event and the Human Trafficking Day, but we haven't really got any too far on that. Anything else before we adjourn? All right, then good meeting, guys. And this is recorded. I will have my assistant, my very lucky assistant, I will have her type all this up, and so we have minutes and can follow through on what was said. Thank you for joining us, Jenny.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You bet.
Good to see all of you.
Yes. All right. Have a good evening, guys.
Hey, good to see y'all. Thanks, Farron. and
Nice to
everybody.
see you all. Have a good night. Thanks,
Good
Farron.
night.
Hey, y'all have a good evening too. Stay healthy, everybody.
Hey, Farron,
Yes.
it's Tamara.
Yeah.
I will just let you know that I intend to call Rotary International tomorrow to double check on that bill payment for Oskaloosa,
Yes.
just to make sure that they actually got the check and all. So I'll let you know if I hear otherwise.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Okay, have a good night.
All right. You do the same, Tamara. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye, hon.
Take care.
You too, bye.
Bye.